Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to.
Take that again. Take that again.
I was
Take that
reading the
again.
notes. I was reading the notes, and I just didn't understand what I had put, which was this weird word, and I was like, "What the hell was that word?" And then I just realized that I had to talk. Oh no!
Let's do that again. Let's
All
do it
right, all
again.
right, all right, all right, all right.
Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties. Oh, hi.
And we're two longtime friends to discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, I mean through our own lens, honey, which is loosey goosey lens, honey. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. It's at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet though. Hi, here we are talking about a show. Wow, what show?
90 Day Fiance, The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 14. Never say I regret because that is unhealthy.
Yeah, don't have regrets. I don't want to ever say I have regrets. There's I guess really the phrase is no regrets. So it's not never say I regret.
You know who we
But
didn't get this episode?
Nicole and Mahmoud?
Yeah.
No, I
This is
know.
this is almost the first this is the first time I can recall we didn't get them. Maybe one time before. But it was less stressful for me, but then more stressful because we got more Isabel and Gabe, which I didn't enjoy. I don't enjoy it.
I like Nicole and Mahmoud, so I definitely can feel when their presence is gone because it's kind of less enticing. But who do you want to start with? You want to start with your Gabe and Isabel since you already brought them up?
Sure.
Okay, well,
Gabe and Isabel, we start off where Gabe is in the hotel, getting ready, and he asks his mom for some nose hair clippers so that he can clip his nose hairs. And his mother's like, "Don't do something with it," and he was like, "What does she think I'm gonna do with it? God, I'm just gonna what does she think?" And I'm like, it's just such a mom child moment. It was so kind of cute.
yeah, I think in the mom thing is don't bend them, don't get them rusty, just don't hand them back full of hairs. Make sure they're clean. I like these, treat my shit well, and it's I get it. The makers of the Magic Touch, which is that lipstick that has, you can get as a seen on TV and in CVS stores, a little lipstick that gets rid of facial hair. They have another little thing that has a sticker up inner that cleans up nose hair. It's such a great device. It's so funny because I make sure that my nose hair doesn't come out of my nose.
Oh, I have never thought of that.
I don't think that if I didn't do it, it would be an obvious thing, but I just hyper groom. So it's something that I like to just I will just pinch my nostrils and then see if anything is around there at the bottom. And I'll just take little hair, little clippers. And I'll be like, nope, I'm cool. You don't need to be there,
Oh, nice. For those of you out there in the world, let us know if you too shape your nostrils. But
Now
he's
here's
doing that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this is such boring conversation, but it's what's more boring, nose hair clippings or the actual storyline of what happens? I don't know.
So I think it's interesting. I think we provide very interesting conversation.
Okay.
So so Gabe is sitting and he gets a text from Monica, and all of a sudden his energy goes down. Producer asks him what happened, and he's like, "Well, me and Monica got into a fight last night because we were waiting for Isabel to get to the club, not a club, and Isabel didn't get there in time, and so Monica got upset, and she got upset and wanted to go, and then I wanted to tell Isabel something, but I was like, no, it's okay, I won't say anything." And Monica's like, "Well, if you're scared of her," and she's back on that old thing again. And so Gabe feels disrespected, but he still expects his sister to show up. And you spent a whole bunch of money to come to Colombia. It's silly for you to say you're not going to go to the wedding.
Yeah, this feels like a power move from Monica. Monica was going to make it seem look, I was at the bar this whole time and I got tired. I couldn't just wait forever. And so when Isabel finally could come, it's not my fault that I had to leave, And the truth is, this is what happened. She is there. They're hanging out. Isabel's running late because she has fucking wedding shit to do. So it's not like a problem thing. It's just like, that's, and so Monica is like, I'm tired, I want to go home. And Gabe is like, oh no, she's on the way right now. And this is where the problem is. Monica obviously makes the choice that like she's gonna go, and Gabe is frazzled by this. And for some reason, instead of Gabe just being like, Monica, all right, you're tired, you gotta go. I get it's gonna be like sad, but there's other people here and we have other friends, it's not a big deal. Or just tell Isabel, before Monica probably is gonna get tired, so I don't know how late she's gonna stay out, and not make it a big thing. But for some reason, Gabe can't handle it between the two women. Instead of like telling Isabel, like, oh, I know the wedding thing's, like happened late. I don't know if this is still gonna like happen real soon. Do you want to make sure you come here? Do you want to just go home and chill? Like, I feel like there's ways to handle it in such a way to like not have these two women, put you in the middle of something. I feel like you allow people to put you in the middle of something. Don't
I
you?
agree.
Like, that's like boundaries thing. Like, there's just a way of communication and being like, as you know, Monica, Isabel's like, running around like a chicken with her head cut off, honey. I mean, she's bananas right now. It's wild. It's the day before her freaking wedding. Like, that makes sense. And then also being like, Isabel, Monica has been sitting here drinking for like 4 hours. I'll tell you right now, like, we should let her go home. But like, come hang out. I have other friends here. It's the day before our wedding. Let's just whatever. She's whatever. I don't know why it's such a thing, but of course it is a thing. They get, they have a fight. Now, however, I will tell you, does it happen off camera? Yes. Is that suspect coincidental for producers to make up a storyline to make it seem like this wedding is A, dramatic in any way, and B, a life or death situation in the sense that it might not happen? Yes. Do we know their tricks and we've been sharp before and we'll understand this to the day or die? Yes. Do we willingly, little fishies, swim into the hungry mouth of the shark with its fangs showing? And do we know it? Yes. So you make your own decisions, and that's what I have to say about that.
Great. So Gabe gets very upset and he lays down and is then, due to the editing, as Chris just explained, supposedly late for his wedding and also late to help Isabel get things put together, which upset me because you can't be late to our wedding. And you're supposed to help me put out the little sharks and fishies that are our decorations or whatever. Like, I don't get what their decorations are. I wish I knew more, but it seems very silly. So she's upset. Everyone is getting their hair and makeup done but her. And I was confused about that. I was like, girl, sit, like, tranquila. Sit down or drink tequila and like tranquila, which is like tranquil, and chill. At this point, there's nothing you can do about it. So just enjoy your wedding and let it be what it is. So I don't know. I want more detail. I want Monica's side of it. I need more information before I like go deep into this. And he fully gets so upset that he's just like laying on his bed because he needs some time.
How doth a little crocodile improve a shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, and neatly spreads his claws, and welcomes little fishies in with gently smiling jaws.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's us. We're those fishies, and the crocodile match her. Okay, so here we are, my loves. Moving on, barreling forward to, let's bring up Daniela and Johan. So this starts in a great scene. I love this scene. So basically, Johan is like, okay, so I asked for Taylor's number after that last hangout, and he's a basketball player and he's also tall, and we've already established what that means in me. But also, like, I like to throw down a little bit. And so he calls him and is like, I'm gonna like meet up. And we're all like, also, Taylor speaks like not any sort of Spanish, but okay, let's see how this goes. But it actually goes well because what? They're tall guys that like to play ball. So let me tell you this. After Johan had like made fun of Talon for like showing up in like a pink, suit. I mean, let me just tell you, I don't have a picture and you just have to like believe me that Johan shows up to this basketball in the shortest of pink crocodile shorts, not basketball shorts. I mean, like the kind of shorts that you lay out in Palm Springs with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do not, these shorts are bananas, but either not bananas or pink crocodiles. But anyway, so they start to play a little one-on-one, and it's like exciting also right now because it's NBA playoffs. And so like, it feels like on point. I've been already watching basketball, so my mind's in basketball. Anyway, Titties say Lakers. That's on Patreon only. So basically they're playing, they start to play one-on-one, and Talon's winning, and also like any points that Johan has, it's because he never clears the ball. So like let's say Talon like shoots the ball, like and it's like it hits the backboard, and so Johan will just like take it, instead of going out into the to clear it outside of the the paint, or outside of the paint to clear it, you know what I'm talking about, and go back in. He just will shoot where he is, like right under the basket, and they'd be like, I got it in, and Talon has to be like, oh, okay, buddy, 1 point.
So for those of you guys who are listening, if you hear a little jingle jangle in the background, that is all 13 of Chris's bangles that are just a clang-a-langin'. And like today, they're clang-a-langin' more than they've ever clang-a-langed in the past. So yeah, they play a silly game of basketball, and they have their bro camaraderie come together, and they sit down and they pass the phone back and forth like a doobie, and they talk to each other in Spanish/English. And basically, he's trying to be like, is she always like this? And Talon's like, yes. And Johan is like, well, it has to be some kind of compromise. And Talon's like, yeah, but that's not her style. She's not going to do that. She's going to do what she wants to do. So you might as well just let her. And he's like, no, I can't do that because yo soy hombre. I'm a man. She has to live within what I want. And Talon's like, yeah, nah. So then we have a scene where they are having a conversation, Danielle and Johan. They go to somehow this resort beach. I don't know how they got on this beach, because normally the resorts are really picky about letting locals. And at this point, Danielle's a local, onto the beach, but they sit on this bed and they have a conversation, or they try to, and she refuses to see his perspective. She's just like, listen, I'm going to have more friends come and I'm going to hang out with them because I don't have a friend group here. And this is the life that I want to lead, and I'm a grown woman. And he's like, but you're a married grown woman, and you have to take my feelings in consideration. And if I don't want you to hang out with somebody, then you have to not hang out with them. Also, you said it to me right before my birthday, and I didn't think that was right. Even though he's using that birthday thing, I was like, that's so stupid. Like, come on, you're not a child. You're not 10. Shut up.
Yeah. The birthday thing is weird. Like,
yeah, it's a dumb reason for her to be the worst. I mean, she is the worst, but these are not the reasons why she's the worst. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, she's controlling. She just wants me to do everything that she wants to do, which is all very fair and true. And then she does something that I did not expect her to do, which is to cut off the conversation and basically yell at him that it was enough. And I was like, oh, are you a curmudgeon old man who refuses to like hear what your person or someone in your family is saying? It's so weird that you being so intuitive and like having your chakras aligned and like meant to move to DDR, all of a sudden now you're like, well, maybe I'm meant to be here by myself because this man is asking you to respect his wishes.
And compromise. Yeah, no, it's so funny because it's kind of a similar situation that happens with Chris and Jamie, which of course is that upon a conversation where one esposa is like wants to express themselves, has a point to make, is upset about something and wants to be heard in some way, and the other person is unable to hear it, unwilling to hear it, and it's because secretly they think that point is invalid, and they're not respectful of their esposa, or B, because they don't want to have to deal with opening up and changing because of it. And so what they're both doing is being like, absolutely not. No, I don't want to talk about it. Why aren't you respecting me that I say I will refuse to talk about it and hear you? Why won't you respect me that I refuse to hear you? Like, it is such a weird conversation. And I'm not saying, whatever. It's just, it is a weird tactic, and both use it. So anyway, I will say this about Daniela. She's wearing a fabulous outfit. I mean, even Johan, who has to be like upset with her, has to be like, just, you look great. Okay. So anyway, I basically think that you're dumb. But anyway, so can we move right to Chris? Oh, go ahead.
It's just like cut to Daniela from season 1 of Love in Paradise. Her saying like, I just feel like this is the right move. And like, I'm meant to be with Johan. So YOLO and whatever. Cut to her now being like, oh, maybe I was meant to be here by myself. It's like a year later. And then she's also only talking about staying in the Dominican Republic for a year. Did you catch that? She was like, well, I'll stay. I guess I'm supposed to be here for this year by myself. I'm like, what are you going to do after that?
Yeah, because like you made us believe that you had stopped your job and like lost out on like 30 years of being in the public school system and your pension. So like if you uh
Unless she's just on a sabbatical. I don't know if New York school teachers can take one, but teachers who teach in college can. Unless she's just on a sabbatical from school that's lasting a year to get like some peace of mind, which then is like all fraud. Or maybe this is, maybe she was planning on taking it back to the US the whole time.
listen, I don't know, my love, but we're on the hunt. And by the by, even though we're in the middle of like talking about Toe, in the 90-day world, we're all giddy over the fact that they dropped the before the 90 days info.
It looks so good. And they're all new couples except for one, maybe, right? No?
Gino?
Yeah. And we know she is shit bat crazy. Like Jasmine is wild.
Shit bat crazy?
Yeah. Batshit crazy. Sorry.
No, 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 don't you dare, because I really like shit bat crazy.
But like your hair looks really good.
Thank you, because I got it done.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a little darker. This is like a little creamy. I wanted to go more like quiet luxury with it and not so blonde. Do you see that? Do you see the color?
I can't see the color, but I'll see it next week.
Oh, you just like the texture and like the style was good.
Yeah, the straight is like straight,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've been surprised. I feel like you never liked straight hair on me. I feel like every time you see straight hair on me, like you judge me.
Have I seen a lot of straight hair on you? I don't mean to judge you, but I think it looks sleek. It looks
I love that you said I don't mean to judge you. Like, not that I don't judge you.
Well, no, I mean, I can't say that I don't judge you. If you feel like I
I
judge
know.
you, then like I'm not going to deny your feelings. You know what
Okay,
I'm
okay,
saying?
okay.
Like I want to be a good partner. Is like I'm not
Okay,
going to
okay.
deny your feelings. I'm just going to say that I don't mean to if that's how I come off
Oh,
with your
okay.
hair specifically.
Okay.
I want to validate you, Chris.
Same.
You're a valid person who allowed to have your feelings. Okay, anyways.
Thanks.
No, but I think it just looks really sleek and I was going to ask if you had that thing that you sometimes do, the halo situation, but it looks great.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I do have, I haven't used it in so long. I forgot where I was. Honey, I haven't been an angel in a minute. But okay. So, basically, yeah, they're just,
We're
you
moving on?
see in Johan, yeah, well, I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna like, you see in Johan's face, I feel like you see an understanding that this bitch ain't it.
Mhm.
So, and we can talk about gender roles later, but the truth of the matter is, when it comes to women like Danielle and when it comes to women like Jen, I think a lot of them are like putting it on the man, like he's just da 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 da, and it's just like you're American though.
Yeah.
He's always been that. He and everyone in his like the whole culture, like the ad is what they are. He's not different from anyone else in that culture. You just don't inherently understand the culture.
And it took Jen too. I mean, we're not going to go to them, but I just want to say this in case I forget to say it later, that she then does recognize that it wasn't that he was trying to purposely like lead her on. It's that he just was being foolish with what he thought he could accomplish. Like he wasn't going to go against 1,000 years of Indian culture at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
I
At the end
understand
of
what
the
you're
day.
saying.
Yeah. But let's talk about Chris and whatever her name is, because this is they just keep teasing it. It's like they had nothing, not a lot of footage for them, because we sometimes see them, we don't see them, and then when we see them, it's like them fighting. So Chris lands in the fucking craziest outfit. It is so annoying because it's not like she's like even kind of kooky white lady who likes to wear baggy pants and lots of thick jewelry. She doesn't go that far to where we can see the like kooky, perhaps in the 70s witchy aesthetic. She's just like trying and failing. There's an effort there. It is just tacky.
Yes, it is. I hate to say this. How do I say this? Okay. Someone dressed the way that she dressed in the public, if I saw them, my instant thought was get the F away. That person's bananas. Don't stand next to that person. Don't look at that person. Don't look at that person. Don't stand next to that person. That person talks to you, smile and pretend that you don't speak English, but you are a nice, warm person. You're not going to give that person any sort of mean vibes. You're just going to be a pretend, honey. I just would pretend, I
Yeah.
would go to the depths of my soul and be like, look out of me. Look
I
out of me.
would think that she is like a hoarder.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I
Yes,
would
yes,
think that
yes.
there's some kind of issue going on where this
Yes.
person sees something and immediately goes, well, this looks nice, and puts it on just because it has red and like the shirt has red and then the shoes are cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. Ooh,
Oh, she's a busy lady. What's happening over there, Chris?
God,
Like,
wow.
who is texting you, or like who put an exclamation mark on one of your comments in your iPhone? Um, yeah, so she's getting off the airplane, she's wearing a shiny ass like mask, and she gets in the car. Jamie doesn't pick her up this time, and I peeped game. Jamie was like, "Oh no, you can just fucking figure it out yourself. I'm not going to come and pick you up." So they drive to the house, and at first I thought she was going to like struggle with her bags up the stairs, but she didn't. Jamie ended up coming to her. We have a scene of Jamie getting ready, putting on makeup to receive her. They get inside the apartment, and then they have this stupid scene where they are just hanging out on the floor next to their fire. There's not a carpet, there's not a rug, there's not a bean bag, and they're making s'mores because that's what this very Alabama individual would like to do in their home, is make s'mores in their indoor fireplace.
Yeah. I love a bunch of things about this scene. And by love, I mean I hate. Okay, so let me tell you this. I want to give props when it's due, right? Because I can't just be, and there's a sweetie in this podcast, I can't just be a meanie all the time. Does this dog seem excited to see Chris when she walks in the door? Yes. Yes! Yes, she does. Well, yes, she does. Okay? The dog is excited to see Chris. I want to say that right now. The dog's excited to see Chris.
Okay.
Okay? So I will also say this. Then Chris comes in and is like, oh, you got the s'mores that you didn't know about that I wanted to do, but you didn't know what they were. So then there was like this weird, like, s'more shame that Chris
Yes.
tried to do, like, that Jamie doesn't know, like, s'more life. Like, bitch, you don't know a bunch of shit. Like, yeah, s'mores is like the most white trashy American yum thing. It's not bad. It's just like, white trash. I could say they, at the Ritz-Carlton in Deer Valley, the St. Regis. The St. Regis in Deer Valley has a s'mores time at like 5:00 where they will make gourmet s'mores. So maybe it's not white trash, but it's definitely American. I mean, it feels very American. The name s'more, like, it's a crazy thing. Now, I will tell you, obviously it's graham crackers and usually Hershey's chocolate, but obviously it could be anything else, and like marshmallow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great when you don't have much except a fire and some things that don't need refrigeration, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
But
podunk.
yes, in this moment, doing it in their home and not outside in their backyard, or at least camping, feels silly that she would be like, oh my God. And I was like, dude, does she not have a fireplace? And I'm not saying every home has to have a fireplace, but many do. Many do. Not in California, but now the newer ones do, right? So I imagine any home that is in a place where it snows might have a fireplace. In my mind, that would be my dream. So maybe that's just me wanting a place. Remember when I was searching for apartments here and I was like, oh, it has to have a fireplace?
Yours
This one,
does.
no, it doesn't.
Oh, really?
I
I
don't know
thought
if
it
it
did.
does. I thought I was looking for one and I got here and it didn't. And I was like, fine, I'll take it. It's great. So but yeah, anyways, so that's the one thing I noticed. And Jamie has just to swallow her frustration. And that to me was frustrating because I'm not somebody who likes to hide my feelings or who's able to do so. So the fact that she had to wait until like a day and a half later to have the fucking conversation, it
Wait,
was giving me anxiety. Go.
my favorite part of her having to wait is that not just that she gets smored shamed or whatever, not just that she like made this for her and then she also is like weird about it. It's also that she like bought furry ass onesies to make her happy, and then all night long they don't bone. What they do is make dumb TikTok videos of them dancing in the onesies. So it's like Jamie has to do all of that, not talking about the things she wants to talk about. I almost like can't believe. So okay, well, are we supposed to believe this whole night they just have fun? They never talk about it once.
Yeah, we're supposed to believe that. I mean, I think once they didn't have sex, Jamie was probably like, Okay, I'm talking about it. Because wasn't it, I don't know who said it. I feel like Chris was the, or maybe Jamie was the one who said that we weren't comfortable enough to have sex yet. But maybe it's because she was so mad that she couldn't. That she was just sitting on this thing and trying to make Chris's return fun. And then Chris does this like birthday party for her where there's an indoor swimming pool.
And horrible studio sound for
I mean, just terrible. And then she's like, it's your birthday. And she's like yelling about happy birthday and like whatever, as though Jamie is a child, not an adult. And then when Jamie brings it up and she gets kind of upset, the first thing is that tone policing, which is like so annoying. Like, if somebody's yelling at you in the middle of their rant, don't tell them that to stop yelling. After they're done, say, hey, I can't continue this conversation if you're going to yell at me. And then secondly, it was just, I was triggered because Jamie wasn't yelling.
Yep. She was just, she was upset. She was passionately talking. But Chris took that opportunity to shut it down so she wouldn't have to do what she would be confronted.
Yeah, it was like full Karen move. It was a full Karen move. And then she gets up and runs away and is like, I fucking told you not to do that. Like, who are you? Because Jamie's like, excuse me, I would like for you to leave. And she gets up and runs off. Like, I don't know. I don't like watching her because I think of her as being an asshole.
Yes, because listen, in this moment when she runs off, like they don't let us have like more of the confessionals, but like I want to guarantee you that in her mind, if she's about to go to a confessional, she'd be like, I just spent so much money on this nice party and she doesn't even appreciate and this. And I do see the sign and do you see the red velvet cake, her favorite? You know what I'm saying? Like she did all that so that she can maneuver those pieces. So when confronted about the fact that she stopped paying rent and expected her to have the money or whatever, and like you just married some woman and just left, and like wasn't ever going to really come back, like she has lined up everything so that she can't be confronted and she has no accountability, so she can put up her son, they can put up the money and can put him like this or the birthday. And so I don't know what the son thing is, and it's very
What did he do? No, her son got into trouble. What did he do? Did he get into a car accident? Did he rob a bank? What did this boy do to where you had to stay? A DUI. But the thing is, though, you left him at 18. He turned 18 and you said, I'm moving to Colombia. So at that point, I feel like you were like, oh, I don't give a shit.
I do not know the answer, and it's vague for lots of reasons, which is we're not, I hope we get to know later. I mean, listen, there's not us, but there's
give me your guess. Well,
I'm gonna say it's not us, but there's 90-day people out there that do the work that like to get that information out there, and that's not us. So here's the thing. Do we read that when it's out and about? Yes, we will, and we'll comment on it. But I mean, listen,
I want you to guess.
Okay, you want me to guess what this man did?
Yes, this young boy.
Drugs. I mean, drugs. My guess is drugs, babe. My guess is like something drugs, probably drugs. Come on, drugs, probably. I'm assuming. I mean, I'm no like engineer. I'm a rapper.
It's just like this. It's just like a fun game for me to be like, what did this boy do?
Oh, you're not gonna guess? You're just make me guess?
Oh, I did know. I said that. I thought that it was. Oh, wait. Let me guess. What did I say? I thought that it was. You said DUI.
Rob a bank.
Rob a bank, or
you put your money. Okay, so you really think you robbed a bank?
Get a car accident. What would you do where you would have to stay to help your son? I like the DUI. That was a good one.
Sexual assault.
He got a girl pregnant.
Yeah. Well, why do you have to? What do you do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if he just got the girl pregnant, I'm assuming the girl's the one cooking the baby. What is Chris gonna do? Like all Chris is gonna do is use as an excuse to stay in America and like be hooked up to the narcolepsy pills or whatever she's on and not go back to Colombia. So
she fully is on.
Okay,
right, let's move on.
Yeah,
Jin and Rishi.
Okay, ask and ye shall receive. Here they are in happier times.
Yeah, in happier times indeed. So we start off this with Jen in the her friends are like, are you sure you don't need us to stay? You sure you don't need us to stay here and watch and breathe down Rishi's neck as he tells you what happened afterwards? We're gonna go to the store and buy saris. And so she's like, I'm sure. And so they're, she's brushing her teeth, which I'm surprised. She's still brushing her teeth with bottled water. And I mean, maybe it's because her system hasn't gotten used to the water that comes out of the sink. But I'm like, how long? I mean, don't you just have to bite the bullet and drink the water so that your body can get used to it so you can start using? Okay, no, okay, great.
Yeah, and
So
there's places where you wouldn't put the water in your mouth.
okay. So, yeah, so she's using bottled water to brush her teeth and she puts something on her face. And it didn't feel like it was foundation. It felt like it was Vaseline. What did you think she put on her face? Did you notice that?
It's so funny because I wish I'd have looked and see what she was actually doing in that bathroom scene. It had all of her products,
Mhm.
and was staring at all the products. So
Mhm.
there was a huge thing of Vaseline.
Yeah.
So I saw the Vaseline, but I didn't actually see what she put on. I was just kind of like, I just like saw everything in the corner and was like, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. So her girlfriends leave. She, is like wanting to talk to Rishi to see what's up. And Rishi comes, the girls leave, and he goes and sits down with her. And I mean, he has the most gut wrenching, hardest conversation anyone has ever had. He tries to like add a silver lining to it of like, well, I mean, we could make it work if you lived next door or in the same neighborhood or even in the same city. That's not an issue.
But that's the crazy. Yes, go on.
No, but the issue is that they already said no because your age.
Right.
Why are we even talking?
Right.
Yes.
That's where I get where Jen's like, you're fucking wasting my time. What are you talking about? Why would we even have the first part of this conversation about
Yes.
how and where we should live and how you could possibly make it work? Because the second part of the conversation is like, and they also said no. So like, and not only is that it, you probably knew that. Also, if I hadn't made that happen, you would have wasted another 3 months of my time after having wasted 3 years of my time. Because in my mind, Jen, I think that you should have found this out before you got engaged to me. Now,
Yes.
Chris Fair will tell you, Jen, I can see what you're saying, but could you have leaned into what is the reality of Indian culture and his life a little more before you accepted the proposal of a man I don't quite think you knew 100% about either? Yes.
I think it's so interesting. And maybe it's because I am a person of color and I have lineage outside of the US. I think it's interesting that these women just accept that these men from certain cultures, be it Arabi, be it Indian, be it Belizean, be it Central American, just think that somehow the family is going to be okay with you not having children or with him not having children. Like, it's one thing if something was wrong with your insides because you couldn't do it. But it's another thing when you purposely marry someone who's on menopause. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different level, right? So I think maybe Rishi, and this is just me throwing out a full net to see maybe what I can catch. Maybe Rishi was like talking about how he could live close or how she could live close because he was like, if you're willing to be together living in sin, then I'm willing to do so too. Like, he could just deny his family over and over again because he's with Jen. Maybe he's thinking like maybe that'll be the key, but she really wants to marry him. I personally would live in sin. Rishi looks really good with his hair slicked back in that bun during his confessionals. I mean, the hottest at that point.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think that Jen's whole thing, I mean, I don't know. To me, if you've already been married and you're like a seasoned woman, like who cares about getting married again? Like, what does that
Debbie,
mean?
she cares. She cares about marrying a 24-year-old, which is
Yeah,
like
well,
wild to me.
I know, Debbie lives on a fucking other planet. Like that's not, like that's just like a little magical unicorn, honey. I don't have to tell you she doesn't exist in any other realm but this one and barely in this one. But anyway, so with Jen, it's like, I think that she more so is upset because she feels like he either lied to her or he doesn't have his bearings in reality, like in is a little delusional. And I think that she's right. And he says this. He says, look, I did tell her that if push comes to shove, that I pick her over my family. And I said it because I thought that push would never come to shove. But when push, in fact, shoves,
Came.
I will and always will pick my family.
Yeah.
Which is a hard truth. And he says it. And, and we can even go, if we were going to like, talk a little bit about, well, if we're going to like put a bridge to what happens to Osama and Debbie, there's this idea of conditional love. Like what is love? What's real love? Is real love unconditional love? And is conditional love love? Like, because to this end, he's saying, I love Jen, but conditionally that that my parents approve of her for me to maybe it's not. Maybe it's like, no, I love her, but I can't marry someone unless my parents approve. So I'll love her the rest of my life, and maybe I won't get married for the rest of my life, but also this thing where my parents won't approve of her, so I won't get married to her.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe in unconditional love. Well, I do. I think that a parent and a child could have unconditional love, and you could still love somebody but kick them out of your life because they like are doing too much, right? Or like make it so that you put boundaries up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where unconditional love to me comes into play is when someone doesn't show you love unconditionally. And that's the thing like that bothers me. You know, like I've had experiences where someone says they love me, but the things that they're doing and saying and showing me shows opposite. So like I think that it's harder to do when it's not, you know, because you could love somebody unconditionally, but the moment they go to jail, be like, bye. You know what I mean? Like, you could still love them, they're in jail, but it's like at that point when you leave them, you're not showing them that love that they want from you. So it's like it exists, but it doesn't usually exist in the way that sometimes the person who's receiving the love wants it to have happen.
There's also the idea of I love you and I also love myself. So
Yes.
I love you and I want us to be together, but if what happens to you is something that you have done to yourself that inhibits me from living well,
Mm-hmm.
or living the way that's I mean that is whatever, I have to, like,
That's
do what I
healthy.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's healthy, then that's when I have to, that's the condition, I guess. But there's like a give, it's a consequence seemingly of something that has happened because of a choice that was made. But
Yeah.
anyway,
She
oh, go ahead.
says that he was lying to himself, which I think is a very gracious way of saying, I don't think he maliciously did this to me. And I thought that that was really kind of her to do so. I can't wait for the tell all. I thought that this show didn't have tell alls, but they do. I went back and checked the other seasons and they do. So very excited for this.
Now, here's what we know. Okay. So she says this. He goes, okay, so after he goes, like, so my mom, so actually the whole thing is your age. They will not approve because of your age. She's like, well, that's ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. Uh it is and it isn't. If you can, like, probably, like, hammer out the couple of things in which his parents want to have happen, which is for him to marry someone to have kids with, for that person to live in the household, take on responsibilities or whatever. That's what we can ascertain. Now, in the 90-day world, as we said, we're not news people, but we'll comment on the news. The news is already out there because Jen on her Instagram has been blowing shit up. Jen is on the defensive in every way. She has made Rishi put posts. She has put posts basically saying, you know, on her defense, that we don't understand the context, that she has wasted a lot of time and she was told things that weren't necessarily true. And then she goes on to say that his family, is basically racist.
That they're colorist. I didn't know the racist part of it. I read that it's
No, that's
colorist.
colorist. You're right. I didn't use the right word.
Yeah, the thing is though, like they are a British colony, and any culture who has been touched by any of the Europeans have colorism within their community. The uncle is self-hating because he is a deeply melanated individual, and the mother is on the darker side compared to within their culture. So they are just living up to whatever colorist standards, or maybe it isn't British, maybe it is just cultural in general. I don't know, but it is not uncommon and it's not unheard. And I don't think that's anything that, I don't know if there is a colorism movement in India, but there is definitely a colorism movement in the US. And I don't know that yes, I would not want to be around that energy. However, it's still ignorance. It's still very much steeped in ignorance. So when I hear it, I'm like, well, this is the ignorance that is wrought from colonialism. But
Yes. So are you, like, a little bit like Jen, obviously?
yes, I
So I'm like,
am.
why? Yeah, I'm like, that's why it is like this is why I'm like, this woman has lived in India like over time, and months and stuff like that. So I guess in my mind, I'm like, when they look at you, when Rishi is like, my mom doesn't want me to get married because of your age, and she says, well, that's ridiculous. I'm like, is it? I mean, would it, you know, and I guess it is. Yes, they are. You know, she can put on her Instagram. She really did like call them out and say they're horrible, really horrible people. She literally uses the word like I think they're horrible people.
Because yeah, the uncle said something about the brother and she's upset about that. And again, it's all steeped in ignorance. Like anybody who's like my son can't marry this woman because she won't have babies and she can't help me around the house. That is steeped in not necessarily ignorance, but that's steeped in a very deep rooted way that family works. And so you can't fight against that because it's not your culture and you don't understand it. And but that's the way it's run for thousands of years. They're not rich people. They can't afford to hire out someone to help that mom when she's tired. It's the daughter-in-law's job, period, point blank. The same thing with colorism. There's going to be dark-skinned Indian people who are going to feel some way about their person meeting somebody who is of a dark skin because they don't want to keep that. That happens in the US. It's ignorance. The same thing. It's like my son can't marry you because you're older, and women who don't have kids or can't produce kids are somehow not valuable. Ignorance. It's all the same, wrapped up in the same old-fashioned bow. And like for you to call them out on it, it just made her look terrible because she's holding this family against American standards.
Yes.
And I think that is unfair because I don't know if there is a colorism movement in India that would teach anybody any better.
Yes, and you know, it's like I could go to any either I could go to a bunch of people's homes on under the context of what's happening in their family, and then after that footage go, be like, well, they're horrible people. Let me tell you what, they're Trump supporters or whatever it was. Like not horrible, but you
Yeah.
know, I can make my decision about anything. They did this, you know, like a billion things could happen, but these people are just Indian people that are on TV because their son it was a fitness trainer and met this woman in a hotel, you know, like, and then they have to be on TV and talk. Like, they're not, you know, I don't think, I don't know. Yeah, it was so weird. And also, it was really victimy. Like, she wants to be the victim in this, you know, like, and so anytime in which someone is trying desperately to be like, no, I am the victim, it like triggers me in such a way that I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Even if you are now, no, you're not.
I thought it was really tacky of her to say those things.
I did
Like I
too.
thought it was really tacky. Like you don't know these families' lives. The uncle said something about the brother being disabled. Like it is an old-fashioned, ignorant way of speaking. And the truth is that maybe their community, the way it works, he is not providing anything. Like it is like I don't know. It's just silly for her to have done that and removing the context of the fact that this family is in a completely different culture and a completely different country.
Also, the probably one of the reasons why the uncle said that was to make it be known how much more important it is that Rishi is around.
Yeah.
So across the board, it's just like, and she's like not picking that up because what she wants, her objective is to have her like fuckboy toy just live in her house in a part of India she wants to live in, never have to like give money or talk to his parents. But that's not what's happening, babe. And I don't know why you don't know that. You've lived in India to understand like how cultures work. So I mean, I think that this is like, everyone seems like Danielle. Everyone seems like weird white narcissists or like women narcissists that like just go into situations and just want things to happen exactly how they want it, like without understanding the way the world works. Only how their world works and like how even America works. But it's like, you know, there is just
Yeah.
such a divisiveness. People really do not have an empathetic or understanding of other people's point of views, cultures, the way the people work. It's not just them, but it really, we can really point it out.
Nicole does it too to me. I feel like Nicole does that as well. Like she keeps on pointing out how he's this way, he doesn't want her to do whatever. And I'm like, you married a conservative Muslim. Like
You're not wrong.
why don't you understand his perspective? You married him. I think that Debbie, let's move on to Debbie and Osama. I think that Debbie is having some kind of situation where she has allowed herself to believe this 24-year-old's lies. She has been talking to him since he was 21 years old. And the fact that she was like quaky, her knees were knocking when she went to meet his family means that somewhere deep inside she understands that what is going on is not only unorthodox, but it's like if the roles had been changed and it was a 67-year-old man who had been talking to a Moroccan 21-year-old girl, we would have a completely different conversation about it.
Great point. Wow, great point.
And I love Debbie.
I love her too, but you're
this
right.
is what she deserves for going over there and doing that. This is her due for that choice for talking with some, like, oh, he's 24. Like, we're supposed to think like, oh, girl, you got it. Like, no, girl.
No, you're right. You're right. As much as we love her, also, she deserves this, and that's true. And I will say, and she also still got off amazingly light for what could it have been, especially if there wasn't fucking cameras. And you know who knows that more than anyone? Julian. But anyway, yes. So
Yeah.
she got a little, a little tap, right? Or a little like a slap on the wrist, like it could be painful and shocking or whatever, but it could have been way goddamn worse. And you're too seasoned to have done this. But here you are. Let me just say this. Osama, is it this episode? I can't remember because I watched this episode 2 episodes where Osama meets with his sister, right?
Yes.
And they have a
this
conversation,
episode.
right? And like Osama meets with his sister, and he basically is like, look, I love Debbie. I just like messed up last night. He tries to give his point to the sister, which is like, we were painting. And I told her this time was just for painting. And she kept wanting to talk. And I said, no, Debbie, no talking, painting time. Which goes back to the 2 other times in which someone was like, I don't want to hear you and
Yes.
your views. This time is only for me in my mind. And no to you. I'm not in a relationship. Whatever, God bless. So
Yeah.
it's so weird. So then anyway, that's what he's like, I just wanted to paint and this bitch wanted to talk or whatever. And then
I
it's
don't
just
like stressful situations. And I've never been under this kind of stress. So she has to forgive me because I've had a plan of going to the US the whole time. And we did talk about it, like whatever. And then finally she admits that she did talk to him about going to the US, but later and not permanently immediately, like in a couple of years after they had got married. And I was like, oh, so he just didn't make that up from scratch. And I'm not saying that she's wrong for saying it the way she did, because he is doing a lot, but it's not like the conversation never happened.
Yes, you're right. However, he also said this, that the reason why he got upset is because he knows that she wants to get an apartment and move in Rabat, and he has absolutely no money. So he got upset because as she knows that she wants to talk about this, he feels less than insecure, right? Now, I'm not saying he should have money, but the communication aspect of me is like, Debbie, I don't have any money.
Yes.
I don't have any money to get an apartment. So when you ask, well, what's the plan? I don't have a plan for us to move into an apartment. I have no money.
Yes.
So let's talk about what you think can happen.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get a job, Osama? Oh, Debbie, you think I can get a job? No, I raise chickens here, Debbie. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you, can you sell the chicken? No, Debbie, the chickens are for my family, for us to have eggs. Oh, okay. Like, I don't, listen,
Yeah.
these two people are on different sides of the spectrum. And
Yeah.
communication would hopefully bring them a little closer, and they're not doing it. And he is to blame as much as she is. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
you have to have these conversations. At the same time, also, it's very hard for them to communicate because, they don't speak the same language. But basically, he has this conversation in the cafe with his sister. The sister is like, also, just so you guys know, he's like really harsh with me too. Like, it's not just Debbie. Like, the man's a harsh man, like when he is upset, he says crazy shit. And he is like, that's me. When I'm upset, I say crazy shit. You just got to be okay with it. That you just got to know that's what happens when you have Osama, which also is like, no, fuck you. Like, no, your thing is that like, you better filter yourself when you feel the madness comes on, because you can't just be saying crazy shit. Also, because your eyes and teeth are crazy, so you already have 2 strikes against you. You can't have your words be crazy too. You got to think about where it's coming out of, buddy. Okay.
I can't believe that you got through that without a stumble. You were ready to go. You had it in your mind. I love every moment of that. It's so funny. Oh, that was great, Chris. That was great.
Okay, I felt like you wanted to talk, so did you want to say anything?
I forgot what I was going to say. That was so good.
Okay. So basically, then the next scene is like Debbie is like puts on this lace like extravaganza and a fucking hat. She looks crazy gorgeous, and she's just like in Morocco, and she's like, Osama reached out to me because he wants to meet at a cafe and talk or whatever. Like, oh,
she's like, I don't really want to talk to him, but I've got to give love a chance. And so she goes and she sits there, and I'm just like, does she not? I mean, listen, I don't know this to be true, but just like, yes, as an American who's watched enough 90 Day Fiance to kind of assume that maybe asking like a woman in a Muslim country if there's alcohol abound or alcohol available in the middle of the day might be slightly inappropriate. I don't know.
Not just any alcohol. Do you have a Texas margarita? What the hell is a Texas? First of all, a billion things. What is a Texas margarita? I know what Tex-Mex food is. A margarita. What is
like a big margarita with maybe it's a Cadillac. Maybe it's a big one with a big bowl and it has a Corona in it.
I literally was like, what makes us Texas? Like, is it like there's some like whiskey in it too? And then she's like, that woman has to be like, no, coffee and tea only. And then Debbie's like, okay, I'll take a cafe latte. First of all, in my mind, I'm like, does she think that cream is going to come in a foam? I love it. She thinks that cream's going to come in a foam. She thinks she's in Italy. I can't wait. And then she has the audacity to be like, Morocco is a desert for margaritas out there. Like, what? What? Debbie, where did you think you were? How are you so old, my love? Like, I don't call every woman old, but how on God's green earth are you 60-7 walking around thinking that Morocco is a desert for How?
And then Osama walks up to her and he, because he told the camera earlier, he's like, hey, I just want to make things right with Debbie. I say things when I'm upset and, blah, blah, blah. So then he walks up to her. He's like, hello, how are you? And she's like, how do you think I'm doing? I was like, oh, shots fired immediately out the gate. He sits down and he then does what he's been doing the last 3 conversations that they had is shut down. And when she's like, you did this to me, Osama, she's like, if that's what you think, it's okay. If that's what you think. And I'm like, Osama, you are never going to get anywhere with that attitude. Do you want to come to the US, Osama? Well, the next time you trick an elder into coming to Morocco to be with you, then you need to have better tactics and learn from this and become somebody who can just play into what your partner wants. He could have gotten himself to the United States had he waited just a little longer and played the long game and the short game. She's like, you should be ashamed of how you treated me, Osama. You should have told me when we were in Rabat that this was going to go on. And he's like, we did not talk about this. We never talked about this. Debbie, you are lying. And she's like, we did talk about it, but we talk about it in the future, years away, Osama. I just, talk to the hand because the face don't understand.
No! Okay. When this happens, we're like, it's funny because she has now gone through decades and given us little snippets of like vernacular. Like talk to the hand is 90s, right?
90s.
And she had 90s, hardcore 90s.
90s.
And she's also given us like 70s, like, what's the hip, man? She's given us that, she's like the greatest hits of the decade. She's lived through them all. And each part has like a little place in Debbie. Like, I just,
if she had said, man, your teeth are on fleek, we would have known that she was bringing us into the 2010s.
Yeah, someone made Peter Fleek. Someone absolutely has. And AF.
Yes.
I was bamboozled AF by him.
Yeah.
And you could just,
She's like, talk to the hand. And
this is what she says. Sorry, she goes, talk to the hand, because I heard so much BS coming from you, so I'm gonna go on without you.
It is crazy. But she stands in her power. And he's just like, if that's what you think I don't love you. If that's what you think, then, it's okay or whatever. And she's just like, yeah, man. So she gets up and she walks away. And I was wondering, Debbie, where are you going? Don't you have to sit down and call an Uber or something? Like, where are you going? Are you going to hail a cab? So she gets back and she packs what looks like 7 bags. Mm-hmm. Oh, I could not imagine traveling with all of those bags for 2 weeks or however long she was there.
No.
And then having to somehow call somebody to change her flight or I don't know how she changed her flight. She did it. She must have used her app and she changed the flight when she was in the hotel.
Julian.
Yeah, Julian did it. And she packed all of those bags back. If she had unpacked them all, I don't know, but she might have because she probably had everything everywhere.
I gotta go back with a tail between my legs.
Yeah.
What she does. But, but the thing is, yeah, babe, you do. And that is the little price you pay for this foolish journey. And, she kind of wants to be like, I didn't open my heart for 12 years. And now, I'm going to still open my heart because I'm not going to let him win. Like, she kind of does this, like, you don't know what you're going to do, but she comes back around. I do love Debbie. I hope the best for her. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we love her. All right. Who else do we have?
That's it.
Oh,
Oh,
we did it.
yes, we did it, my loves. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow us on social media, you absolutely can. We are at Docu Sweeties on Instagram. We are at Docu Sweeties on TikTok, and we are at Docu Sweeties on Twitter. By the way, we are also doing the Love in Paradise on our Patreon, which you can find out more information by Wa talking instead of me, which she's better at doing.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. So, hey guys, so we are watching Love in Paradise, but it's an exclusive to Patreon. And if you want to know how you can hear our thoughts about Love in Paradise, you would go to patreon.com/DocuSweeties and join for $10 a month. I mean, you get a live every first Monday of the month where we get intimate. We show you family photos. We talk about the things that we love. We talk about our future dreams. So join that if you want a little bit more about us. We also give you the visuals of what you're listening to right now immediately. So it is now Tuesday, May 7th. And like, you're going to get that shit immediately if you're on Patreon. And so we want to thank you guys. If for those of you who have joined us and on Patreon, hi, you could see me waving. Hello. But we love this community. We love you. And if you love us, join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties for $10 a month. And you would have gotten to see what Chris was just doing with her tetas. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.